One, two, three. This is Dr. Alex Avila with Love University, and we're back. I'm an author, psychologist, and speaker. Every week we talk about how to love ourselves, others, and a higher nature. Now we're in the Miami Book Fair, and I hear some police sirens in the back, which is kind of a good segue to our guest, a former judge, a law enforcement gentleman, Nelson Diaz, who graduated from St. John's and Temple University Law School. He's the first Puerto Rican to take the Pennsylvania bar exam and the first Latino judge in the state of Pennsylvania. He's a partner in law firm, former judge, former general counsel of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, appointed by Bill Clinton. Special assistant to Vice President Walter Mondale. He's been a director of various companies and has worked in various organizations to help minorities go to law school and to own businesses. He's the author of No Soy de Aquí ni de Allá. I'm not from here or from there. Welcome, Nelson, to the show.
Thank you very much, Dr. Avila. I really appreciate it.
Now, the term I'm not from here, not from there, it sounds like you're in the middle ground. What does that mean?
Yeah, it's an issue that I have confronted in my life, one of which is, one, I couldn't get into a college, wouldn't be accepted into either a Catholic school, and the confrontation of discrimination that I lived throughout my life. Couldn't buy a house in a neighborhood, cross-burning. One of my houses got torn down in a community. And so the confrontation there in one place, and then trying to go back to Puerto Rico and try to help them.
Yes.
Having been a board member of the largest utility company in the United States,
yes,
they didn't want my advice.
Wow.
And what happened? Maria happened right after that. So I just want to feel, hey, you're the Americano, so no longer do they want you. And then here, we as Latinos get discriminated.
Right.
And so I'm trying to show how striving we can overcome many of those issues, particularly here.
I like that. So you're basically, you describe yourself as an outsider who worked yourself to the inside. You worked for presidential administrations, you've been a judge, a high-powered person. What are the secrets you can teach our listeners? How do we go from outside to inside?
It's interesting because when I first got out of law school, I would sue everybody.
Oh,
so
okay.
I sued the federal government to have testing that Latinos could pass to get employment.
Yes.
I sued for bilingual education. I sued for bilingual elections. And confronted the banking industry because they used to redline us. So to some extent, until then I was going to sue the White House Fellows Commission.
Yes.
But somehow Jimmy Carter won, and they accepted me in the program.
Okay.
So that was...
So you sued your way to the top.
That's right. So one of the things that happened to me is not expecting to get in. I was figuring because they thought I was too ethnic. That was an African American Republican woman said I was too ethnic for the program.
Wow.
So I figured, let me see how ethnic I am by filing a suit. But Carter won, Ford lost.
Okay.
I got into the program.
Yes.
And I've been involved in the program ever since, and that has given me a change in my life. Mondale showed me how to maybe walk 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and how to be more of a conciliator instead of being such a bad activist.
Exactly. So you're basically moving forward. Even if you take 2 steps forward and 1 back, you're still moving forward.
That's right. Yeah,
so
that's right. Because you're taking 2 forward and 1 back, so you're still pushing the envelope.
I like that. Now, in terms of young people or general, what's your advice to them? Like, let's say they're stuck in some bad job or bad environment or bad relationship, or maybe they want to get into the inside of some business and they can't because it's all connected. What do you say to them? And then maybe they're minorities, or maybe they're not minorities. Maybe they're just shy or introvert.
That's a good question, Dr. Avila, because at the age of 15, I was illiterate in 2 languages, Spanish and English. I could speak Spanish because that was my native tongue.
Yes.
English, I was, 4-letter words.
Yes.
And what I did essentially was create discipline for myself to try to overcome my dependency on not being able to take tests and so forth.
Yes.
As I did that, I would keep pushing the envelope, and I kept getting rejected, but I kept rejecting rejection. I kept saying, hey, I can't get into college, so I'll go to a community college.
Right.
Well, I aced the community college, and then I aced the college.
Wow.
I couldn't get into law school, but some guy wanted to try one because there was a large Latino community. Says, let me try you. Tries me, I get through. He becomes the dean of this law school, and he becomes the president of the university.
That's incredible.
Good investments in me.
I like that. I like that phrase, Nelson, rejecting rejection.
That's right.
Because many times people get stuck in their mental obstacles. I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, smart enough. But you're saying to push that aside psychologically and then go forward for your dream. and you did that. You accomplished a great deal. Now, were you a criminal court or civil court judge?
I was a general. I did general jurisdiction, which is I did everything. Not only did I do everything, but I also ran the court system and reformed it. Where there was a 7-year backlog in the court system. I talk about that in the book.
Right.
And in 18 months, I brought it current.
Wow. What do you think of criminal behavior? I do forensic psychology as well, and also the civil side. But a lot of times people ask the question, is it genetic, environmental? What do you do with people that have this kind of criminal mindset?
The issue really is shame. And as I come from that background where I was in Harlem, I would get picked up by the police. I would get totally, embarrassed in a situation. Even my mother embarrassed me. She would come around with a bat to get me home. So the shame issue is really the important thing. If you can get good mentors and then overcome the issue of shame, you need to be ashamed about anything because what for? It is your life. And you've got to essentially invest in your own life so you can overcome those obstacles that prevent yourself. And the only shame there is that what you don't get.
Good point. Well, I mean, shame is often used as a tool, in society. Also, parents do that sometimes. But in the level of consciousness, if you do like a hierarchy, it's actually a very low level. Shame and guilt. So how do we overcome that? Say regret and shame and guilt.
At the age of 15, there was a minister who worked with the gangs of New York who took me out and basically said, hey, if you believe in God, nothing's impossible. I believed that. Believing that made me feel that I could push the envelope and push and push and push. So having that mindset is really the important thing, is what I call the Pygmalion theory. If you're able to get yourself understanding that you're not junk, that you are a quality person, that people will have to take you whether they like you or not, that becomes a tool for you to overcome whatever shame, whatever lack of understanding. And because mentors are so important in life, if you've got the right mentor, they can also take you to the next level in life.
Now, Nelson, we're going to have a guest today who's been on CNN a lot. He's Chris Wilson was convicted of murder. He spent 16 years in jail, African-American guy, but he became an entrepreneur. He's very successful. He does a lot of speaking. How do you feel about people like that? Do you feel that they can be redeemed? Do you have compassion for that? Or do you feel people are damaged?
No, I really believe they can be redeemed. Some of the criminals are some of the smartest minds in the world. And the real difference between them and I got an opportunity. They did not get the opportunity. In my community, there were so many people who died of drugs, who died of HIV, who went to jail, mainly because they never got the opportunity. They were a lot smarter than I was. So an opportunity. And so I've dedicated my life, and if you read my book, is to opening doors for opportunities for Latinos in all areas of entrepreneurship.
But so let's say you have a Latino in front of your court that did commit a murder. Are you going to let him off, or are you going to punish him? Have you had a situation like that?
Yes, I have, and I've always give somebody one chance.
Okay, so parole or probation.
So I would give someone a chance. What has happened today.
You got sentencing guidelines, right?
Yeah, that's right. What's happened today is the statutory guidelines don't allow you to put somebody on probation, but you can give them a minimum sentence. And then you can use that minimum sentence in order to give them a probation period. I've had people reporting to me on a weekly basis on Friday that would come in, and I would just to check on them to make sure they're doing the right thing. I've issued programs where I've had more probation officers have more relationships with some of these folks. And that's what you have to do. You have to give them something and some guidelines and some hope. Because if you don't give them hope, then you're going to go back to being a criminal because your mind is too smart to sit around and do nothing.
That's great. But the thing is, you sound like a compassionate judge. I can almost see that.
Thank you.
Does that make you look bad in the system? Don't they want you to convict people? Is there pressure on you for that?
Well, I really, that's the important thing. If you see me and you see my life, I don't care what other people think. I care what we can push the envelope to make our community better, because I believe, having been discriminated so much in my life, that a lot of things comes from the frustration of discrimination and the frustration of not being able to be given an opportunity to go ahead and the lack of jobs, the lack of housing, the inability to get good health, the inability to be able to help your parents and your family, all of that creates frustrations in some folks. And the question is how you handle it. I handle it in a way that I pressure the system to provide us the equal opportunity.
I like that. So you're kind of an advocate for goodness and for helping people.
I'm an advocate for making sure that whatever's available for the total population, it should be available to us because we're hardworking people. We're not rapists and we're not robbers.
Exactly. Now, we had Marianne Williamson on the show, who's, I don't know if you know her, spiritual author. She ran for president this year.
Yeah.
And her platform is a politics of love, trying to bring more love into the government in a positive energy way. However, she gets ridiculed for that, and sometimes people think politics is all about fighting, right? It's about conflict and about maybe being mean. How do you see that? I mean, is politics a dirty business, or is there positive love things in it?
Politics is a dirty business, but she's not really part of the political system. That's why she's talking about issues of love, because helping your neighbor. Now, who's your neighbor? The person right next door to you, the person who's in your community. Helping your neighbor is how you demonstrate love, and it's not just, I give you a squeeze and I love you. Helping your neighbor is helping them get a job. Helping your neighbor is being able to sit down and be able to counsel children. If I had had proper counseling as a kid, I would have made different educational determination. I turned down a scholarship to Wharton. How stupid can I be? I turned down a $3 million job. How stupid could I be? Why? Because I sort of thought that the way is just service, but with that money, I could have bought some of those services.
Okay, good point. All right. So you want to help people, but also make money to help people as well.
You should be able to have a capacity to have someone counsel you and say, this is what you want to do, well, these are some of the areas in which you can do it, and you don't have to feel like you got to turn away from somebody offering you a high-powered job in a major corporation.
Right. Nelson, what advice would you give for young people or minorities that want to get into politics or government, but they're not sure about it because they see all the problems that are going on? What's your advice to them?
Yeah, one of the things that I've seen in terms of politics is the lack of integrity. And if you have integrity, it is very difficult to be able to enter into the arena of politics. So the way I see it is being an agitator, being an advocate to the political movement in a way in which you become extremely relevant. And as you become relevant, that individual who is the typical political leader becomes less and less relevant. And that's how you really be able to change the envelope. And if you're interested in a political office, you gotta do it until you die. You just can't say, I'm interested, run once, you lost and it's over. No, you got to make sure that that politician knows you're coming back next 2 years or 4 years.
One important question, Nelson. ¿Te gusta arroz con frijoles y tostones?
Me encanta. Tostones amarillos,
there you go.
plátano maduro.
That's for I like that.
Mofongo.
That's for the Latino people. That's rice and beans and fried bananas. So you're Latino.
That's right. Y también me gustan los tacos. I have a Mexican daughter-in-law, so I have to,
Exactly. Listen, it's been wonderful to have you on the show. It's been a pleasure.
It's a pleasure, Doctor.
Now, where can people hear more about you? Do you have any books or seminars or things you do?
Yes, I'm willing to continue to work on these issues. As you saw in the book, because I think that our children have to realize it ain't over at 15 and 16 years old.
Yes, exactly.
You can still overcome. I overcame. I became poverty, sickness, and all kinds of issues that you think are not achievable. And I believe that if I can get to some of these kids, because I went to a school system yesterday in Atlanta, 90% were immigrants, Latino immigrants. No computers, no books in Spanish, no bilingual programs. And I'm saying to myself, if you go to a rich school, they give you a laptop.
Now, so where can people hear more about you? Do you have a website?
Yes, I have. It's www.nelsondiazbook.com.
Perfect. And your book is Not From Here, Not From There. Nelson, thanks for being on the show.
We'd
like to have you come to LA and collaborate
Dr.
with
Avila, I'm going to go. I met you. I want to be there. I want to be there.
So, Love University students, if you have any questions, you can email us at loveuniversity@gmail.com. 310-226-8090. Visit us at loveuniversity.love. Like us on Facebook at Love University Podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Love_U Podcast. Until next time, Love University students, put away your notepads, your books, your iPads, and this is Dr. Alex Avila.